Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Soul Shift Messages. If you found your way here, trust there's something in this message for you. Understand this space is about growth, truth, and transformation. We don't bypass here, we don't sugarcoat, and not every message will feel comfortable, but it will be honest. I speak in flow, and sometimes that includes cussing. It's just part of how the messages come through. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own discernment above all else. Take a deep breath, and let's begin. If you are new here, please know at this time I post weekly content in 3 parts. Part 1 will focus on what needs to be revealed. Part 2 is what needs to be understood. And part 3 focuses on what needs to be done, what changes need to be made to embody whatever we are discussing that week. So this is going to be part 2 for this week's topic. And this week's topic is rebalancing the ego. So I am calling this message, Release the Need to Justify Your Existence. They want me to explain the thumbnail very briefly first. Basically, I buy myself flowers pretty much weekly. At this point, I just walk in, look at what's there, decide if there's something I like or not. It's not really required. It's really more of, do I find what I'm looking for? And I don't actually know what I'm looking for until I see it. But on occasion, I do end up with, extra flowers. I don't like to squash them in my bigger vase downstairs. So when I do end up with extra flowers, I put them together in a smaller vase. And I put them where my ancestors can see. I have an altar for my ancestors, so I put them together where they can see them. They get squashed if I actually put them in the altar. So I put them on the desk where I record. And the arrangement that I put together for them last night bloomed beautifully. And my ancestors really don't ask me for much. So when I woke up this morning, they asked me if I would use their arrangement that I made for them as the thumbnail today. They would really appreciate that. I think they just really loved them and just wanted me to share that beauty with you all. So that's why it's a little different. I got my big bouquet downstairs. Don't worry about it. It's still there. I love that while I have my morning tea. So one of us got to look good at my kitchen table in the morning, and it is not me. So don't worry about it. I don't know how often I'll do that, but they asked me to do it. Who am I to tell them no? So it is beautiful. All right, so let's jump back into this. Again, this is Release the Need to Justify Your Existence. Again, longer messages. We're just diving into some deeper stuff. So we'll primarily be reading until further notice. So we'll work it out. At some point it'll shift, but it's where we're at, and I'm not about to fight it. So here we go. The deepest issue is not that you are wounded, flawed, weak, arrogant, broken, or in need of fixing. The deepest issue is that a large portion of your psychological energy has become organized around a single unconscious assumption. I must earn the right to fully exist. They want me to highlight this is an unconscious assumption. You may not realize you are actually even carrying this in your energy. So again, if for any reason you're like, it doesn't feel right, this goes deeper than what you may recognize at this time. It's part of the reason why we need to address this. So everything else appears to grow out of that assumption. I'm hearing that's why we need to address it. That's why we need to take it down. Noted. The ego has become responsible for proving that you deserve to be here. It is attempting to prove your worth, prove your value, prove your intelligence, prove your uniqueness, prove your growth, prove your healing, prove your understanding, prove your legitimacy, earn love, earn belonging, earn acceptance, earn safety, and earn permission to be yourself. This creates an endless task because no amount of success, healing, wisdom, understanding, achievement, recognition, or self-improvement can permanently solve a problem that never actually existed. You never had to prove yourself. You never had to prove that you needed to deserve to be here. It's a problem that never existed. I'm hearing that shit's all in your head. All right. The deeper truth emerging beneath everything is your existence does not require justification. Not because you finally become worthy, because worthiness was never the real issue. So they did have me break this down into a few parts. So part one is going to focus on the psychological structure that has been built. The original wound is not the main problem anymore. The original pain matters. The disappointments matter. The losses matter. The betrayals matter. The failures matter, and the rejections matter. But the deeper issue is no longer the wound itself. The deeper issue is everything that was built around the wound. Over time, a psychological structure appears to have formed, a protective system designed to prevent future suffering. Again, I'm hearing this isn't about blame, it's not about shame. It's really about things that were built with good intent. It's just outlasted its usefulness, and we're just going to focus in this series on rolling it back, giving it permission to let go. I'm hearing letting it go with grace and thanks. This system may include constant self-monitoring, emotional guarding, intellectualizing feelings, identity management, hypervigilance, overthinking, perfectionism, self-analysis, defensive strategies, and attempts to control outcomes. The message is not heal the wound. The message is examine the structure built around the wound. The protective system may now be creating more suffering than the original injury. Again, it's old, it's outdated. You just don't need it, babies. You don't need it anymore. Pain has become part of identity. Pain appears to have become more than an experience. It has become part of self-definition. Instead of asking, what happened to me, the psyche may unconsciously be asking, who am I because of what happened? This creates attachment to suffering because suffering provides meaning, familiarity, structure, predictability, and identity. The deeper question becomes, who would I be without organizing myself around what hurt me? Pain is real. This is not about denying it. But pain is not identity. I'm hearing it's time to decouple them. Beneath the pain is grief. Many emotions appear to be disguises for grief. And I know if you've been with me for a while, you're probably like, oh my gosh, more grief. But honestly, babies, the more I do this work, there's just different layers of grief. And there's a lot of beautiful energy that gets released when you move through this grief. There is a reason I keep bringing up the grief, because it gives us permission to let that layer go. The grief is trapping this beautiful life force. And once you free it from this shit, it actually gets to move toward beautiful things, you know? It actually comes through with creativity, sensuality, joy, all these beautiful things. I'm hearing some of you feel very starved for that. You have to process this grief. There is an incredible amount of energy, beautiful energy, that comes back to you when you move through this. And I know I've been in a really beautiful, loving, flowing energy as I keep releasing this shit. So, am I harping on it? Yeah. Am I going to keep harping on it? Yeah, until we're really past a point where it doesn't need to keep being addressed. But sometimes this repetition is very intentional. And I'm hearing somebody needs to hear that. Also, if I keep bringing up grief and it is like irking you in some sense, that's me touching your grief. You may not like it, but you're welcome. Some of you need that playful energy back. All right. What appears as cynicism, frustration, withdrawal, numbness, discouragement, and bitterness may actually contain grief underneath. Grief for lost opportunities, lost possibilities, lost versions of yourself, expectations that never became reality, relationships that changed, and time that cannot be recovered. Sometimes anger is grief. Sometimes cynicism is grief. Sometimes numbness is grief. Part of the healing process appears to involve mourning what was lost, rather than continuing to organize life around the loss. Part 2, the core internal conflict. The ego is swinging between inflation and collapse. This is that polarity I was telling you about in previous videos. If you've seen that, this is the swinging between the two extremes. And really what we're going to try to do is balance them out and bring them to neutral. So instead of unconsciously swinging back and forth, you can now consciously choose where you want to be on the spectrum if you actually want to participate in it. There's a lot of power in knowing you are capable of both and that you can control where you want to be on it at any time if you even want to engage with it. That's the true power. That's the self-mastery. All right. There appears to be movement between two opposite identities. One says, I'm gifted. I am insightful. I'm special. I have unique abilities and I understand things deeply. The other says, I am powerless. I am damaged. I am blocked. I am misunderstood and my efforts don't matter. For some of you who need to understand the my efforts don't matter, that's cynicism in a nutshell. There's other variations, but that's cynicism in a nutshell. Neither side is the truth. Both contain pieces of the truth. The imbalance occurs when either side becomes your identity. The healthier position is, and this is how you balance this shit out, is the healthier position is I have gifts and wounds. I have strengths and limitations. Neither defines my entire being. Again, balancing those polarities out, bringing them to neutral, allows you to hold space for complexity. Two things can be true at the same time, even if they seem like they are complete opposites. They can both be true, and you are capable of holding the space of the truth of both of them. Sorry. Someone may be watching Friends, the TV sitcom Friends. I just heard Roscoe Unagi. If you get that, good for you. And if you don't worry about it. But yeah, Unagi. All right. The conflict between the creator and the victim. Two parts of the psyche appear active simultaneously. The creator believes, I can influence my life. I can create meaning. I can shape my future. And I can participate actively in reality. The victim believes, circumstances determine my possibilities. I must wait. I need permission. I need validation. And I need ideal conditions before acting. Both contain truth. One carries pain. One carries power. The goal is not eliminating either. The goal is integration. Trying to eliminate one over the other is what creates internal gridlock. We are trying to break that internal gridlock shit down. You have to integrate them. You have to learn how to hold the truths of both within your field. And it does take time, so be patient with yourself, but you will get there. And I can tell you from personal experience. All right? There is an unresolved relationship with power. A deeper conflict appears to exist around personal power itself. Part of you wants empowerment. Part of you fears what empowerment requires. Power may unconsciously be associated with responsibility, visibility, exposure, judgment, and risk. This creates a contradiction. One part says, I want to step into my full potential. Another part says, if I do, I become vulnerable. This conflict can create hesitation, self-sabotage, procrastination, and remaining within familiar limitations. Part 3, the mind's role in maintaining the problem. The mind has become the ruler. Thinking appears to have become a primary survival strategy. The mind seeks safety through analysis, interpretation, explanation, self-observation, reflection, prediction, and mental replay. Give me a second. No notebook. All right. The underlying belief appears to be, if I understand enough, I will finally be safe. But understanding is not living. Thoughts are not identity. And explanations are not identity. The mind is a tool. The problem begins when it becomes the authority. All right? They want me to say that again. The mind is a tool. The problem begins when it becomes the authority. Some of you are trying to use this tool on tasks it has no business being used on. The greatest distortions are happening through perception. Many difficulties are not external circumstances. They are ways of seeing, perception. For example, victimhood, despair, cynicism, isolation, rumination, and discouragement are not events. They are lenses. Think of them like my glasses. All right? The message is the suffering may no longer be coming primarily from what happened. It may be coming from how what happened is being interpreted. Think of it like dirty lenses over your eyes. Like how, for some of you, straight up how you're seeing things through that lens is not what it actually is. That is the distortion. That's why we've been doing so much work lately, or at least I've been doing so much content lately about removing these distortions. I'm hearing what you see and what you are interpreting is not your true reality. That's why we keep rolling back these layers. They don't serve. They are not who you are. They're not even your true experience. The inner critic has evolved. The inner critic may no longer sound harsh. It may sound intelligent, spiritual, and self-aware. Instead of saying, "You're not good enough," it now says, "You're not healed enough. You're not conscious enough. You're not authentic enough. You're not growing fast enough." The language changes. The emotional effect remains identical. The message underneath is still, you are not enough. This is self-rejection as growth. And I'm just hearing this shit has to go. I'm hearing nothing's wrong with me. I think is that a line from Bodies on the Floor? I don't even think I've actually listened to that song. I've heard bits of it, but I think that is from Bodies on the Floor. I don't even know who does that song, but nothing's wrong with me. Again, it's these distortions. It's how you're interpreting things. Also, I'm gonna be honest, the inner critic is a real bitch. And I don't care how you identify, if you even identify. Like, the inner critic never serves your greatest and highest good. It fucking sucks. That's another reason why we gotta tackle this shit. There is a difference between truth and protection. Many beliefs have originated as survival mechanisms. Examples include people cannot be trusted. Hope leads to disappointment. Vulnerability is dangerous. Nothing truly changes. And I'm hearing this last one applies to a lot of us, so. And I'm in this boat too, so don't take it personally. And I must do everything myself. I'm also hearing if you want it done right, you gotta do it yourself. They literally showed me someone slapping their forehead after I had said that one. I think we can safely interpret that as they don't like that. I just heard let that shit go. Remove all doubt. I think you just did. The important question is this actually true? Or did this belief help me survive something difficult? Protective beliefs are not necessarily false, but they can become outdated. A belief that once protected you can eventually imprison you. I'm hearing the door is open. Just walk out, babies. Just walk out. Part 4, the deeper emotional dynamics. Fear is driving the need for control. Many struggles appear connected through fear. Fear of being hurt, being rejected, being misunderstood, being insignificant, being vulnerable, and facing uncertainty. The ego responds through control. Control through overthinking, certainty, self-definition, perfectionism, withdrawal, and analysis. The deeper issue may not be confidence. It may be trust. Sorry, I didn't channel anything. I'm going to post it tomorrow, but I just don't want anyone to take that the wrong way. I got the download this morning that next week's topic is trust. And I forgot. I forgot I channeled this. I was like, what? Like, just trust. That's all they told me. Trust. So I guess I need to trust the messages about trust are going to come through. But I heard not yet. So that's why I smiled, because I was like, okay, you know. So yeah, it may be trust. Trust in life. Trust in uncertainty. Trust in your ability to adapt. I'm hearing you've done it before. You are more than capable of doing it again. I'm hearing, and you will do it again as necessary. Emotional protection has become emotional isolation. Protective strategies helped reduce pain, but they may also have reduced intimacy, connection, joy, trust, and spontaneity. A painful question emerges. Are the walls still protecting you? Or are they preventing you from living? And I'm hearing don't lie to yourself. I'm hearing your fear and your ego is loud, but I'm hearing your deeper self and your deeper knowing is stronger. I'm hearing trust that. Safety and aliveness are competing. Two needs are active simultaneously. One seeks safety, predictability, control, and stability. The other seeks growth, creativity, expansion, intimacy, and aliveness. The ego usually chooses safety. The deeper self often seeks aliveness. The question is gradually shifting from what is safest to what allows me to feel most alive. Part 5. What is trying to emerge? Authenticity. A deeper self appears to be trying to emerge. That's why we got to clear the shit. All right? Not an improved self. Not an improved self. Not a perfected self. An authentic self. I'm hearing some of you really feel like you lost parts of yourself as you went through these challenges, and I'm hearing you did not. You can't, babies, you cannot. You cannot lose who you are authentically are. I'm hearing they just go dormant. They get buried underneath these layers of safety mechanisms and all this stuff that just leads to distortion. That's all it is. And again, we did what we had to do to get through those moments. But really all this is saying that moment has passed. We can put these things down. They're outdated. I'm hearing you are safe. You are safe to do this. And they're not asking you to just throw everything to the wind, but they're like, just start making small changes. Start putting small things down. Okay? So this authentic self requires releasing masks, personas, performance, approval-seeking identities. Approval from who, babies? Approve yourself. And narratives created for safety. The question becomes, who am I when I stop managing how I am perceived? I mentioned this in a previous video. They want me to mention it again. Not everyone loves him, and to be honest with him, like frankly everything else, I take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But there's a video where Bashar was talking about how I won't talk about the whole thing, but there's a piece of it that's important. And he basically was explaining to this woman, like, how are the right people supposed to find you if you are not showing up as your authentic self? He said the way, and keep in mind, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But he basically said, part of the way this experience is set up is you have people who are actively looking for you in this experience, right? They're focused on themselves. They're acting at the frequency that they are and that they're supposed to be. And they're looking for you, right? They're being in their authentic selves. They're doing, they're living their passion. They're doing what they need to do on their journey to be at the frequency that they need to be at. And he said they are actively looking for you. They may not all necessarily know it's you specifically, but they know they are looking for you. And they're looking for you at that frequency. If you are not your authentic self, you cannot meet them at that frequency. You cannot get within the appropriate range where they can find you. All right. So some of you have people who really love you, who are very excited to meet you. All right. Some of you may recognize this as soul family. Some of you may recognize it as soul kin. Take it how it resonates. But yeah, they're out there. They're doing their thing. They're on their journey. They're doing what they need to do. And they're working on getting to their authentic self. But if you don't open yourself up to that, they're not going to be able to find you. They're just not. So it's like, yeah, you have this stuff and it's working, but some of you are not even happy with where you're at now. So the question I also want to pose to you is, what are you actually gaining by staying here, by keeping this shit on you? Some of you are really waking up. Some of you are full fucking tapped in. Some of you are being shown in dreams. Some of you are getting visions of people that you don't actually know in this experience, but you understand they're significant. Like they feel familiar to you. Some of you have soul family, soul kin, who are also very tapped in. They know your ass. They know you. And I'm hearing they're rooting for you, but they're not going to interfere. Right? They know you need time to do what you need to do so that you two can come and meet together in this experience. And these people are not all romantic. All right? But being your authentic self, letting go of these things that are not authentic to you, that no longer serve you, I'm hearing is actually one of the fastest paths to get. I'm hearing to get your ass to where some of you really want to be. Some of you really want to meet these people. Babies, this is the path. Just let it go. Put it down. All right. Next is flexibility. The ego seeks certainty. Life requires flexibility. The self is not a finished object. The self is not a finished object. It is a living process. The lesson becomes flexibility creates freedom. Rigidity creates suffering. I just heard be like Gumby. All right. That's for someone. Also heard Elastigirl from The Incredibles. Edna. I don't know. Edna does. She has flexibility in her mindset. I'll give her that. Plus, she's just a badass character. Edna's also from The Incredibles. If you don't know Edna, that's worth Googling and educating yourself. All right, courage. Courage is not force. Courage is openness. Real courage means remaining open after disappointment, remaining hopeful after failure, remaining loving after betrayal, and remaining engaged after loss. The ego becomes rigid after pain. Courage refuses rigidity. I'm hearing be courageous, be brave, babies. Essence. A movement appears to be occurring away from identity and toward essence. And I'm not going to lie, I was watching a video of someone who I know has legit gifts and is absolutely tapped into source. And even I noticed she, in her most recent videos, when I started channeling about essence, that she actually started talking about essence too. So I think that's a collective theme. Let's get back to it. Identity asks, who am I? What role do I play? How am I seen? Essence asks, what naturally emerges when I stop trying to become someone? Identity is maintained. Essence is expressed. Identity requires effort. Essence requires honesty. Babies, I'm here in essence to express. Essence requires courage, and it gives you flexibility, and your essence is who you authentically are. I'm hearing all that shit's connected. Part 6, the transformation being requested. Stop improving yourself and start relating to yourself. I'm hearing be the best friend and the best, I'm hearing be the best lover you are to yourself first. I'm hearing you will most easily find those traits and those characteristics in others when you cultivate them and embody them within yourself first. All right? Even if you have to do something that seems silly, like when you get up in the morning and say, hey buddy, or hey bestie to yourself in your mirror, that shit will work. Even if it feels stupid, even if it feels safe, do it. I don't care if it's cheesy. Cheese is delicious. Let's not get it twisted. All right? I'm hearing again, that's just your perception of it. Right? Some of you may want to say, hey, bestie. So when I have moments where I don't feel good about myself, I say, hey, pretty lady in the mirror. It works. If it works, it works. So do what works for you. All right? The question is changing. It's no longer, how can I improve myself? It's, how am I relating to myself? A person can spend decades improving while remaining hostile toward themselves. Again, a person can spend decades improving while remaining hostile toward themselves. The deeper work is relationship, respect, compassion, patience, honesty. Move from becoming to being. One voice says, I need to become more. Another says, I already am. Growth remains important. Healing remains important, and development remains important. But growth no longer requires self-rejection. The healthier position becomes I can grow without treating myself as inadequate. Stop searching and start participating. A profound message appears near the end of the process. The search itself may be nearing its usefulness, not because understanding is bad, because understanding may now be sufficient. The question is no longer, what does this mean? The question becomes, how do I live it? Embodiment, babies. Another insight is unlikely to change your life. Damn. Sorry, I gotta laugh because the last line is embodiment might. Embodiment might just change your life. I'm hearing A Walk to Remember where they're talking about the quotes. I think it's the one from Aristotle. It's like, find out who you are and be it on purpose. Something like that. Find out who you are and be it on purpose. Also, I don't know who needs to hear this, but your soul family, your soul kin, like, I don't know. First off, I don't think there is a single normal person walking the planet. Everybody has things that are weird. I'm hearing your soul family, your soul kin, like they accept your weirdness. I'm hearing they're on your level of weirdness. They love your level of weirdness. If you are not out here being your weird ass self, how are they supposed to find you? Your level of weirdness isn't going to be in alignment. All right. I met two of the most beautiful souls on this journey when I was at my lowest point. I couldn't have faked who I wanted to be if I tried. And you know what? They loved me when I really felt like I was at rock fucking bottom and someone kept showing up with a shovel. It was the most ridiculous shit of my life. And you know what? Now that I'm better and I'm really reclaiming this energy of who I authentically am, they still love me. They are still there. And honestly, I've been cracking us up like crazy because my playful, mischievous kind of energy just keeps coming back. My smart mouth has really been firing off lately. But the good news is I'm a healed version of that. So it's funny. It's genuinely funny. So, but I'm just saying, you gotta let your weird ass out into the world. You don't have to do it all at once, but slowly but surely put that shit out there. You'll be pleasantly surprised. All right, embodiment over analysis. The next phase appears to involve creating, building, moving, speaking, connecting, practicing, and participating. Less thinking, more living. I'm hearing if you're really in your head, I don't know why, but I just heard, get the fuck outside. Baby, is someone like hermiting hardcore in their house? I heard go put your ass in the sun. Put your ass in the sun. Get some sun, drink some water, get some fresh air. And I literally just heard, get the fuck out of your house. I don't know who they're coming for with that one, but may that find the right person. I'm hearing you know who you are. Babies, get outside. All right. I live in New England. The weather can be all over the fucking board, and it's even being consistently nice here. Like, get outside. Get outside. All right. Discipline as integration. Transformation occurs through practice, not insight alone. Balance develops through keeping promises to yourself, following through, healthy routines, boundaries, emotional regulation, and consistent action aligned with values. I'm hearing know your truth, honor your truth, act in your truth. The lesson becomes stop trying to think your way into balance. Practice your way into balance. Again, the mind is not going to get you into balance. I'm hearing your mind is putting you into fucking spirals. Take action, even if it's small. Like getting your ass out in the sun, drinking water, going for a walk, hearing eat good food. All right? You cannot think your way out of this. You go and act. I'm hearing talk is cheap. Put that ass to work. I'm also seeing the scenes from Marvel's Avengers, The Age of Ultron. I don't know why I'm seeing that particular scene. I think it's Petrov. I might have butchered his name, but he goes into the police station, tells them, you gotta evacuate the city, and none of the policemen move, so he comes back in a short while later with a big ass gun, fires off a few rounds, and says, get off your ass. Or move your ass. Something like that. Marvel may be significant. Maybe you're watching Marvel movies. I know my team's been making me go back through all the Marvel movies, particularly the Avengers ones. Some of you are actually decoding shit in the movies, like you're picking up. Yeah. You'll know if that's for you or not. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. There's shit in there. But yeah, Marvel could be significant. All right. The final synthesis. When everything is distilled into its deepest form, the message becomes surprisingly simple. For a long time, life may have been approached as though you must become someone before you are allowed to fully live. Become healed enough, become wise enough, become worthy enough, become safe enough, become complete enough, become certain enough, become authentic enough, and become enlightened enough. The deeper truth emerging now is life is not waiting on the other side of becoming. Life is happening now. And I'm hearing it is waiting for you. Life is going to keep happening no matter what. Are you going to get out there and greet it or not? You do not need to solve yourself before you participate in your life. You do not need to heal every wound before you create. Babies, if me showing up and slogging through this shit with you as I create this content hasn't proven that to you, I don't know what will. All right? Don't be waiting for that. It's a farce. And I assure you, there's just new layers of things. It don't stop. It just doesn't need to be, that's the walking goalpost. If you're waiting for that, that's a shit that will never end. Like, just get out there. You do not need certainty before you trust. You do not need perfection before you love. You do not need another identity before you belong. You do not need permission before you exist. The deepest lesson is not about self-improvement. It is not about perfection. It is not even primarily about healing. It is about releasing the lifelong effort to earn the right to be here. Once that effort begins to relax, a great deal of the struggle described above naturally begins to dissolve. I'm hearing you're worthy because you're here. And you deserve to have a life that you live. I'm hearing a lot of the things that you're carrying that you believe to be true, they're not true. This is really your invitation to understand, like, yes, what we talk about here on this channel is important. Peeling back these layers that aren't who we actually are is important. Healing these wounds is important. But we're not here just to heal. We're still here to have this experience. And is there ratchet shit that happens here? Yes. Yes. But there's ratchet shit that happens everywhere. I'm sure you could go to another planet, another galaxy, and there is a level of fucked up there too. I can almost guarantee it. All right? But it doesn't mean life isn't happening, and it doesn't mean that you can't have the best experience while you're doing this. Balance. Balance, babies. You're more than capable of doing it. So, all right, that is all that is coming through, and that's all I've got. So I'm going to end it there. I will be back later this week with part 3 on what needs to be done. Tune in with that if it resonates, and if it doesn't, that's totally fine. All right, take care of yourselves, beautiful beings. Until next time, bye.